The I word being?
Immigration. Brush it under the carpet, pretend it's not happening, and the fact that your constituents can't get GP appointments, or the roads are clogged, or your kids can never have a house, we just won't talk about. We're living in broken Britain. Nothing works. Look at HS2. Look at it. The National Health Service doesn't work. 1.5 million people have waited over a month to see a GP.
So I'd like to talk about the state of the UK. I was talking to my wife about this. I'm 44, she's 45, and we can't remember this country ever being so, well, your money doesn't go very far, you can't get in to the NHS. Have you ever seen this country in such a state?
I do remember 1974-5, I'm a bit older than you.
Yeah.
And I do remember inflation getting to 27%. I do remember people's savings just being obliterated. I remember strikes. I remember the 3-day week. I remember doing homework by candlelight because there were blackouts.
Right.
I remember some trade union leaders who clearly, as we've learned, were acting on orders from Moscow.
Wow.
I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. And, you know, this country, which only half a century before had had the biggest empire the world had ever seen, was really, really on its uppers. I forgot, income tax. Top rate income tax, 83%. Unearned income, 98%. I mean, mid-70s Britain was the epitome of a centrally run socialist state, utterly failing in every regard. So yes, I have been here before. The difference, I think, this time is even though we didn't have much confidence in Mr. Wilson or Mr. Heath, we still had great faith in the church. We had great faith in the National Health Service, huge faith in the National Health Service, great faith in the army. We actually had great faith in the institutions in many of the institutions of the country. That has completely gone. I mean, this Archbishop is turning people away from religion, or certainly from the Church of England, in their droves. Some are heading towards the more evangelical churches who have good turnouts on Sunday mornings. Many are just giving up on religion completely.
A lot of people are converting to Islam, aren't they? Have you noticed that as well?
Yes, there is a bit of a trend with that. Islam's a very complicated one because there are clearly sects and parts of Islam, that are compatible and we respect. In fact, actually, when you look at what happened in Oxford Street the other day, you might say, well, we got great respect for something that has some rules. Equally, because Islam doesn't have a proper head at the top of it, there are elements of it that are very worrying and very scary.
Yeah.
The National Health Service doesn't work. It just doesn't work. 1.5 million people have waited over a month to see a GP. I mean, you could be dead by then.
Yeah.
Now, part of this is because we have an exploding population and no one wants to talk about it. Since 1997, the population's up 9.5 million. And it's going up, and it's going up now. I mean, last year's legal immigration figures were the biggest ever, by miles. We need more and more people to come in from around the world because we haven't got enough baristas, because we've got 5.3 million of our own people of working age not working. We've got a massive productivity problem. I mean, our productivity levels are lower than France's. How can that be? I've never seen a Frenchman work. Huge. So actually, an exploding population is a major part of our problem here.
And why do people not want to talk about it? Because they're accused
Because it goes back to the I word, and if you touch the I word, you must be a very bad human being.
The I word being?
Immigration.
Right.
No.
Oh, okay.
Brush it under the carpet, pretend it's not happening, and the fact that your constituents can't get GP appointments, or the roads are clogged, or your kids can never have a house, we just won't talk about. So that is a big problem, and that's put added pressure, definitely huge added pressure on the health and everything else. But no, I mean, look, I feel in summation, we're living in broken Britain. Nothing works. Literally nothing but state. Look at HS2. Look at it. We're told it's going to cost 35 billion. The latest estimate's 109 billion. I bet you it's 150 before they finish, and it won't be completed till 2041. I mean, nothing works. I it was very interesting.
Why does nothing work here when Dubai seems, for example, like, would you consider moving?
Actually, I mean, the trouble with for me is, I am so English, I can't help it. But, I love going to Lord's for the cricket.
But you still could, couldn't you?
You still could. But I love the English countryside. I like where I live.
Yeah. You might have family around.
All of those things. I mean, I suppose.
But is it more tempting now to move than it was 5 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
For loads of us. I think the Channel Islands suit me.
Right.
I quite like the Channel Islands. You can hop back and forth fairly quickly. Now, I don't want to leave.
No.
In the 1980s, we turned this country around. All right? We went from that desperate position that we were in, and we turned it around. And it was incredibly tough and very painful. Painful for people working in the coal industry and for many, many others. It wasn't straightforward. But the Thatcher approach, that you needed to literally turn economic policy on its head, it worked. By 1990, we were successful, thriving, we went from being the sick man of Europe to Nissan opening plants up in Sunderland, to 300 foreign banks investing money in the City of London. So these things can be turned around, but you need courage, and you need leadership. And I feel that's what we're lacking terribly. And I look ahead to next year's general election. Frankly, what shade of social democrat do you want? I mean, they're all high spend, they're all high tax, they're all committed to net zero policies which are unachievable, unrealistic, unworkable, and for the poor, unaffordable, with no flexibility of thought.
So there's not one person out there that can help move the pendulum across. There's not one disruptor.
I don't see it. I mean, in a sense, I was a big political disruptor, and that disruption led to Brexit. And you can agree with it, disagree with it, but it worked. It led to a debate on immigration, but that's now been ignored completely. And I'm hopefully going to disrupt the financial model that we're living under in a positive way for all, I hope, and believe. But no, there isn't a disruptor out there. And the trouble is our system is set. We don't have open primaries. So, an outsider like Trump can't come into British politics. It just literally can't be done.
So you think the whole political system needs a shake-up then?
I think we're in a catastrophic place with it. I promise you, whatever the rhetoric, the actual choice next year is very limited indeed. Whoever's in government, they won't be very much different. They really won't be much different. But, as I say, in the late 70s, a new philosophy came along, and something will come along. I don't know when, but something will come along. But we're not in a good state. And what really worries me, Rob, are the number of young people that are leaving. Lisbon's become a very attractive destination.
I know loads of young people going to Marbella, going to Dubai, etc., in their droves, literally.
In their droves. Yeah, the brain drain is back. It's the first time we've had it. Well, in the 70s, it was
brain drain.
The brain drain. In the 70s, young people qualified as doctors, accountants, and just left the country. Right. Australia was sort of one of the number one destinations. America, equally a very popular destination. By the way, Australia's back as a very popular destination. Because if you're a doctor, it's double the money in Australia.
Wow.
Double the money and better weather. Yeah. So the brain drain, it was known 50 years ago, and we're back with that, and we're losing a lot of young talent. And, the tax burden just goes up and up and up. If you look at, direct taxation, indirect taxation, the monstrosity they put on small businesses.
What's the indirect taxation? You mean all the stealth taxes?
What you pay.
Just to get into central London?
No, but I mean, you buy a pint, you buy a packet of fags, you fill the car up. I mean, huge,
double tax on fuel.
Huge, let alone inheritance tax, which of course now is taking double the money it was 5 years ago. So many people who would not consider themselves to be wealthy families are being trapped by IHT.
Right. Because the thresholds aren't.
Yeah, that's right. They're
increasing in line.
They're frozen. I mean,
which is a form of tax in a way.
For now, the property market has stalled, but it's been going up and up and up and up and up. So it's difficult. And interestingly, I mean, Liz Truss. Well, I mean, for all her failings as leader, actually, a lot of what she said, I agree with 100%. She was talking about taxes coming down. She was talking about incentives. And I really think that, in this calendar year, to put corporation tax up by 30%, it's just the wrong signal. It's just the wrong signal.
Yeah.
You know, wrong signal.
You mean going up from 18 to 25, which is a 30% rise?
It's 30% rise.
Yeah, because you've already got to charge VAT, corp tax, income tax. You're at 52.5% before you even blink.
So why would you want to risk your own capital to set a company up that might succeed, might fail? If it fails, you lose your dough. If it succeeds, they take half of it every year, a bit more away from you. If you've got a student loan to pay off, you're up to 60% tax.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is painful.
Business rates,
all of
pension contributions,
and so Lisbon looks attractive. Lisbon looks very, very attractive. Because
Dubai looks attractive on that.
Dubai does as well. But Lisbon works because there's nobody in London on Mondays or Fridays now anyway. Nobody here. Work from home. More productive, old boy. Cobblers. Absolute cobblers. Just means you walk the dog.
One of my staff members left and said, I want to work from home so I can take the dog out for a walk every morning and walk my child to and from school.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wouldn't have had the gall to say that to my employer.
Now it's sort of understood. But you know, so you can work in Lisbon, have a great tax deal with the Portuguese authorities. You can get an early 6 o'clock in the morning flight into Gatwick or Heathrow, right? Work all day Tuesday, Wednesday in London, have all the meetings you need, all the face-to-faces and sit-downs that you need, go back at 10 o'clock on Wednesday night, and do that every business week of the year and still qualify under the number of days.
Wow.
You know, you can see it. You can see it. So we have to turn this around. And it's a malaise. Yeah, it's a malaise.
Why can't anyone in government see this?
Liz Truss did see it.
Then she lasted through. I spoke up for her.
I think she had the right vision. Kwasi Kwarteng, who's a lovely man. I really always have a huge laugh when I see him. A bit too academic, perhaps, and trying to do too much too soon. It's a bit like the old Morecambe and Wise joke, isn't it? The famous Christmas special with Andre Previn, the conductor, and Eric Morecambe says, I'm a concert pianist. And so Previn does the big dun, 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 dun. And then Morecambe starts playing the piano, incredibly badly. And Previn says to him, I'm sorry, Mr. Eric, you're playing all the wrong notes. And he grabs him by the collar and says, no, sonny, I'm playing all the right notes, just not necessarily in the right order. I felt the Kwarteng budget was like that.
Right, yeah.
They were all the right signals, but we were doing too much, too quickly. The market wasn't ready for it. Although, funny enough, those market rates have been far worse since then, from that perspective. So, I don't want to be a counsellor of despair. I'm not a counsellor of despair. I think we will come out of this, and I genuinely believe that as Brexit Britain, we have the ability to make things worse or better for ourselves. And I think in the end, we can come to the right conclusion more quickly, perhaps, than our friends in Brussels.
Hey, quick, before you go, if you want to watch the full, raw, uncut version of this episode in detail, no holds barred, you can watch it here. But before you go, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on.